Okay, the recording has started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Seniors Council Douglas County meeting for July. My name is Luke Thornton. I work for Douglas County and I'm your WebEx host today. Just a reminder that if you have questions, please place them in the chat box. You'll see the chat speech bubble down in the bottom right corner. You can click that and it opens up the chat. Send the questions to me by selecting host in the drop-down menu. And then I will be able to read your questions to the presenter. Without any further ado, I hand this over to Gretchen Lopez.
Good morning, everyone. As Luke mentioned, it's our July meeting of the Seniors Council of Douglas County. And as you may know, my name is Gretchen Lopez, and I serve as the current chair of the Seniors Council. And we're delighted that you have joined us this morning. As always, we're very grateful for the technical support offered by the county and our county commissioners. A special part of that report is the assistance Luke provides prior to and during our virtual meetings. So thanks, Luke, for helping us out each month. I wanted to share that our county liaison, Valerie Robson, has recently retired. Lucky her, right? She's been a constant champion for older adults in Douglas County and the Seniors Council for many years. Her energy, spirit, and hard work has been a blessing to all of us. And I'm pleased to announce that she will be joining us as our official historian and continuing to advocate for our older population. Welcome aboard, Valerie, in your new role with us. At this time, Kim Smith, who's with the county, is helping us in a variety of ways. She's helping us get out the First Friday update, which will be going out tomorrow, and with other duties, and I wanted to thank her for her assistance. And now for a really exciting announcement. Today is the official launch of our poetry contest's promotional campaign, and we have lots to share about this upcoming event. Every Age Counts is an amateur poetry contest focusing on anti-ageism. Ageism is discrimination based solely upon a person's age, whether younger or older. And it's far too prevalent in today's society and first appeared many years ago in the work environment. Perhaps you or someone you know was approached by an employer around the age of 50 or 60 to consider retiring. Sometimes a severance package was offered as an incentive to voluntarily leave a job. Or a younger person was told that he or she didn't have the skills or the experience to lead a work group or contribute their ideas. In both cases, age is the primary factor in diminishing a person's value in the workplace. And ageism is routinely practiced in other aspects of our lives as well. Studies have shown that a multi-generational approach to community life is beneficial to everyone. And we and our partners, Changing the Narrative, the Douglas County School District, and the Douglas County Libraries, are committed to encouraging each of you to adopt a more positive way of thinking, speaking, and acting about aging. We've chosen a creative approach to starting conversations about ageism by sponsoring a poetry contest open to all residents of Douglas County, regardless of age. Each poem will be a personal expression of the positive aspects of aging and will celebrate us no matter what age we are. I know some of you are probably saying, the last time I wrote a poem was in school many years ago and I didn't even get an A. Or, I could never write a poem, especially about anti-ageism. Well, this contest is designed especially for you. We developed a very helpful informational packet with the guidance you'll need to get started. It contains a short video describing ageism and the negative impact it has on society. Also, it has sample poems and helpful hints on how to begin writing a poem, as well as the contest rules and requirements, and of course, an official submission form. Entries can be in either English or Spanish, and a variety of age groups ensure competition among peers. Here's a slide containing a link to this packet. The contest itself begins August 1st and runs through September 15th, so you have plenty of time to work on your poem. Our panel of 6 judges includes poets, ageism activists, teachers, and librarians, some of whom are bilingual. They will review all the submissions between September 16th and October 15th and select first and second place winners in each age category, both in English and Spanish. So we could possibly have 24 winners. A special in-person award ceremony will be held the afternoon of Saturday, November 6th at the Highlands Ranch Library, and winners will have a chance to read their poems if they wish. Prizes and gift bags will be given to the winners and their names published on social media, so don't be too shy. This is a fabulous opportunity to try something new and contribute in a small but very important way in changing how we view aging in our county. We encourage you to take a look at the informational packet and strongly consider participating in our contest. Who knows, you just might be one of our winners. And to let you know, those folks who are getting our First Friday update, there will be a link in the First Friday update directly to the informational packet. And if you haven't signed up for our electronic newsletter, we'll show you how to do that later on in the meeting. Right now, our education chair, Tiffany Curtin, will give us a sneak preview of upcoming presentations and then introduce our speaker for today. Tiffany?
Thank you, Gretchen, and thank you everybody for joining us this morning. And so I'd like to give you a preview of the next 3 months of our speaker series. On August 5th, we'll be learning with Jay Berger, and so she will be speaking about staying in your home and staying safe. On September 2nd, we'll be hearing from Molly Woodhull, and she will be sharing some meditation techniques that are effective and can also keep our mental health healthy, which also transfers into our physical health as well. And then we start getting into fall and starting to think about the Medicare open enrollment for our October 7th presentation. So October 7th, that's when we'll start talking about Medicare open enrollment and what those options will be for your 2022 open enrollment for Medicare. And now I would like to introduce to you all our speaker today, who is Barb Lotze, and she is joined by her co-presenter. I don't know the last name, but the first name is Robbie, and he's waving at you right now on your little square. And so Barb, she is the Director of Business Development at Visiting Angels. She is committed to helping older adults age in place with dignity. She holds a bachelor's degree in therapeutic recreation, and she is also the co-founder and CEO of Cycling Without Age in Littleton. So right now I'd like to turn this presentation over to Barb and Robbie.
Thank you, Tiffany. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And I am going to put the presentation up as I get going here. And there we go. All right. Can everybody see it? Are we good? Someone give me a thumbs up, but I can't see you all.
We're good, Barb.
Okay, great. So thank you again, Gretchen and Tiffany, for the opportunity. Robbie and I just love when we go in the community and speak about aging in place with dignity and finishing strong. And so Robbie his wife was a client of ours, and he's a client. And so he has some great insights. He's 86, and his motto is every day you have to have fun. So he makes the presentation dynamic. I'm the Director of Business Development at Visiting Angels here in Littleton, Colorado, and I'm on my 13th year working for Carl and Gail Knight, and we help people age in place, and our whole goal is to enhance quality of life every single day for every client. So we try to go above and beyond and bring joy, and again, with whatever parameters our life has set for us, we want to find that joy and enablement for people and empowerment. So that's what we do. And this is Robbie Robinson. And so no matter what demographic you are, age, culture, it doesn't matter. Today, I hope our goal is that all of us gain some kind of knowledge nugget that we can take with us that will enhance our life somehow. I know every presentation we give, we have learned something and we add to this presentation. So we all have collective wisdom here today, no matter how big or small our group is. And so we are excited about having you. We're going to keep question and answer to the end because we want to really honor the time of having an hour to speak to you. I do talk quickly, so if it's too fast, Luke, if someone's giving you the high sign like I'm talking too fast, let me know. But I do have a lot of content, a lot of information, and I have handouts that I've sent forwarded to these, so either Luke or Tiffany will get to you. So without further ado, what is aging with dignity? I mean, we all want to be dignified. We all want to be honored, respected, and worthy. And it goes to what Gretchen was just talking about, the whole ageism. Like, gosh, let's really look at that, and let's not let that define our society. And so I love that they're doing that poetry contest. And it'll be really fun to see the outcome of that. And as I tell people as they age, it doesn't matter today if you're 100, if you're 30, if you're 90, wherever you are. Hopefully, again, you'll pick up a nugget or two. But if you haven't had the discussion, the thought process with your family, it's really important we look at where do we want to age. And so maybe that's we look at 5-10 year increments. What's important to me? If your home is important and that's where you want to be, that's why agencies like Visiting Angels are there. We can help you age in place. We also go to places like facilities, independent living, assisted living. Where are your goals? And we can't always, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what our future is going to be. So sometimes things happen and there's challenges and we can't always meet our goal or expectation. So that's really important to talk about before it happens. And again, not to live in fear, but to really look at how do we plan? What is, my goal is, yay, I want to be in my house. But I also tell my kids, if I'm at a point where I can't be, I understand that these are the important things to me. Really important. I have a 28-year-old and a 30-year-old, and we've had these discussions. They know what my wishes are. They know what my husband's wishes are. And so really we have to identify it within. What are my goals of care as I age? I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I do have some say in my destiny with how I'm going to talk about how I eat, sleep, exercise. And so there's things I can be proactive about now. And so that's what we're going to talk about in the first part of the presentation. And then the next part, we're going to go into finishing strong. What do I need to have in place so that if something unexpected happens, my family's not scattering, not knowing what to do, but they know we've had a good discussion about what's important to me.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that circumstance for me, I was able, and my wife, to stay in our own home. And this was a really wonderful to do because with the help of Visiting Angels, we were independent. Now, not that our kids, it was okay when our kids could come over, but, we weren't living with our kids and they didn't have to worry about us because we were taken care of. So it's a wonderful way of having the help.
And so one of the things Robbie and his wife did is they talked about it ahead of time. They knew what their goals were. And Robbie's wife, and he'll talk a little bit about that later, she died with Alzheimer's, and she went through the phase for at least 5-6 years. And it was really, really difficult at the end. And we'll get to that. But they really talked about their goals. They were open with each other and then with their family. So no surprises came up. So as she started the disease process and she really still knew and had her cognition with her, all that was decided. And so Robbie helped grant her goals. And that's this slide looking at really, if you haven't done this already, or I think every year we should look at this, like, what are my goals as I age? Well, most people will say, I want to be healthy, I want to enjoy life, and I want to be independent. I hear that all the time. Like Robbie's point, I mean, sometimes people have to, you know, move in. My daughter had to move in with us for a couple years between jobs, and life happens. And sometimes senior parents move in with children, and there's no judgment here. It's just everybody, no matter if you're living in a situation with family members or not, we all want our autonomy. We all want to be independent, and we don't want to be a burden on our family. And we all want to age with gratefulness and graciousness, I think. And I know it to be true, even if you have late stages dementia, Parkinson's, whatever, everybody needs a purpose. We all have to have a purpose in life. And to the point of all this, this is usually when, if I was live doing this presentation, I would have you guys yelling these answers out, but since we can't, and then when I go in and do assessments with clients, I hear a lot of the same things. We deal with mainly, you know, some 50-year-olds, but our main population is 70, 80, 90, 100. 102, I'm going to have Jean turn 102 here in 3 weeks. And so she's going to take a tri-shot ride. Anyways, this is the same thing pretty much I hear from the folks when we do assessments in the home. They want to age in place. They want to be independent. I hear a lot like, I don't want to use this dang walker. I don't want to, but I always try to educate people that, you know what, if that's going to keep you upright and safe, that's going to keep your goals are going to be realized more, because if you can reduce your fall risk and do other things, and I'll talk about different programs and the nimble and different things later on in the presentation that we can do to keep ourselves safe, healthy, then we're going to be whole and happy as much as possible. Kind of a joke before COVID, my clients would say, yeah, my social life, I'd like it to be beyond doctor appointments. And then during COVID, they're like, hey, going to a doctor appointment, that might be kind of nice, like getting out of the house. Anyways, it's all perspective, right? But happiness, again, having a purpose. And my dad would always say, hey, I woke up on this side of the green today. It is good. So let's talk about that. How our trajectory timeline. I want to talk about falls for just a moment here. And I give these, again, statistics not for a fear factor. I give it for a reality factor that if we have in our brain that we know these numbers increase and just what happens as we age, we will be smarter, safer, more physically, keep ourselves more physically in shape so that we do reduce our fall risk. I was just surprised. I know we get a lot of calls with folks that have fallen. Now they're in rehab. They want our help when they come back home. So I started looking and digging through some stats, and I was kind of surprised they were this high. 1 in 3 older adults fall a year. Every 18 seconds are in the ER. These are pretty high, I think. Every 35 minutes in our nation, a person dies of a fall. And I don't think we're talking about falling off a mountain. I think we're talking about falling in our driveway, in our house, different things like that. And they can cause significant events and debilitating injuries. And again, if we look back to a couple slides ago, we say our independence is really important and key as we age. So we really want to reduce that fall risk. These are some numbers for Colorado. We have a higher rate of falls, and I'm going to guess it's because we're a more active population, I think, than a lot of states. But those numbers are pretty high too. 350 dies annually from falls of 65 and over. That seemed high to me. These numbers, again, going back to our slides, 10,000 are hospitalized and 27%. Now, remember I said people want to age at home, whether that's an independent living facility, assisted, or your home. That's a low percentage that return home. So we really want to make sure we reduce that fall risk. And 50% need ongoing nursing care. That was surprising to me. And of course, it's costing millions of dollars. So the next portion here, before I run into the next piece, also what can affect us as we age, of course, is pneumonia, the flu, the coronavirus, unexpected event. I have actually a good friend that he's 50 and he's a marathon runner, a super athlete, super person, and all of a sudden one day his foot's dropping, he's running, he's like, something's going on. He's been dealing with ALS for 5 years. Stuff happens, life happens. Again, we don't want to live in fear, but we have to know if we plan for if something, an event happens that we don't expect, we have some plans in place. in case we do have a major health, change in health. I know a friend of mine, her husband, they were biking on their tandem and got cut off on the path, and he's now with a broken femur. Oh my goodness, they're doing exactly what we talk about in here. Like, how do I adapt my home? Okay, the shower's upstairs, and so things like that. So it's good to have a plan. You're going to hear about safety next month, so I'm not going to go into that, but she'll talk about that too, and how you can get your home set if you need to adapt it somehow. So what are we going to do? How do we age well? We set our goals, so then we be proactive. We participate fully and wholly in our life with whatever challenges we may have, and we make a plan. And so, again, purpose is big in life. What is my purpose? Most of us, well, I think all of us, we need a purpose. And if we are happy and fulfilled in our life, we can help fulfill others if our vessel is full. And so how do we keep and make sure and maintain our vessel being full? Well, it's by being holistic in how we do life every single day. How balanced are we in life? And I'm not talking like I'm a pro at this, because I know my weaknesses in these areas I'm going to talk about here. Exercise happens to be one that I love. I'd do it all day if I could. But look at, so as I go through each of these bullet points, if maybe you just take a self-reflection for a few seconds that, okay, because I know for exercise, that's no problem for me, but sleep is not good. I need to do better at that. So we just kind of do a self-inventory as I go through these. Are you walking or doing some type of exercise 20 minutes a day? I say 10 to 20. If you're pretty sedate, start with 10 minutes. Again, walking, light weights. You can even do them with water bottles. You don't need a gym, but now we're opening up silver sneakers. I think COVID opened up a lot for people that we didn't know. A lot of us got better with the computer and found out, gosh, there's a lot of fitness videos. People were getting pretty bored in their house. What can I do? I put together Visiting Angel YouTube videos that are always available. One day a week I did fitness. One day I did healthy cooking. You can see if you go to YouTube Visiting Angels, those are accessible to you. They're just quick 5-8-minute videos. Again, to engage people and just to get people moving. And one thing that I started during COVID is Zoom exercises, and we're still doing that. We're on our 2nd year now. Robbie and my mom comes in from Florida, and now I'm doing them in person at River Point, and we do the Zoom and we have them in person. And not just exercise, but the socialization. We've really bonded and have a nice community. So kind of know yourself. If you say, gosh, exercise is not a gig, I hate doing it, then figure out what's going to help you do it. Do you need to have a friend to be committed with you? Do you need to call someone? Do you need to do it with them? Figure out what's going to help entice you. If that socialization piece will help you exercise more, then jump into that. And Robbie and I at the end are going to give you our numbers. And if we can be supportive in any of these aspects, we're happy to do that.
I just want to add that Barb has this Zoom session every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 o'clock. And it's wonderful because we just, not only do we have fun, the balance is really improved. So there's no cost to all these people on Zoom and
it's going to make it harder if you want. Now, fitness. Am I getting my body moving? Am I continuing to work on my balance and my muscle? And we do band exercises so that again, bone density is a key issue as we age. We want to keep that bone density up. So exercise is one. Diet is also another tremendous one that's so important. Are you eating enough veggies and fruits? Not eating those things that are processed, that have GMOs. I happen to be a vegan, and there's a lot of studies on not only how great veganism is for the environment, but for our body. And a lot of people say, no way, I couldn't go without my meat. And I say, okay, well, how about once a week you go without meat, or twice, or look at the meat you're eating. Maybe more chicken and turkey versus red meat. looking at getting your source of protein from beans and nuts and legumes and things like that. If you're going to have fats, instead of that oil and the bad fat, have the avocado, nuts, things like that. I know Robbie was elated. It was about a year and a half ago. He called me, and I'll let him tell the story.
Well, you know, I've been blessed, and I have a visiting angel on, usually comes Monday and Friday, but she prepares all my meals. So the meals are prepared ahead of time. Now, since I've been on this regime with these meals, I've lost 30 pounds. I went from 170 down to 140, and I got rid of my beer belly. But besides that, the doctor says, "What are you doing?" You know, he said, I got such good readings that he took me off some medication. So food is extremely important. I mean,
And Robbie just told me today, he
Yep.
just got his physical last
Right.
week, and the doctor said his blood level, his blood
yes, the
test.
HDLs, the LDLs were the best that I've ever had.
Awesome.
So, I mean, food is extremely important.
Diet and exercise, yeah. So besides diet and exercise, water. I don't know, a lot of people don't realize this. Like I'll say to my mom, "You drink enough water?" "Oh yeah," and then she shows me like a 4-ounce glass that she drank all day, and it's like, no. The rule of thumb is a half an ounce of water for every pound of body weight. I really suggest everybody gets a water bottle and just know how many ounces is in there. Take half of your body weight and really work on getting that every day. Now, if you're not a water drinker, you know, there's things you can do, like he puts these fizzy things in his water. You can color it, you can put fruit in it, you know, do ice, whatever's going to get you to drink it, but really have incremental measurements so you know, because there's an illusion that you might feel like you're drinking a lot, but you're really not. So it's really key. This is huge. I have a doctor friend here in Colorado, and she said, "Barb, you cannot imagine the people that come in," and she said, especially seniors, because for some reason, if you're not in the habit of drinking water, it's harder as we age. She said, there's so many people that wouldn't have to come in with dry skin, constipation, kidney stones, urinary tract infections, dehydration. That can so be solved with drinking enough water. So if you're not a water drinker, I ask you one thing to take from today. Just really, you will notice a huge difference. Just to start getting enough water and just make that a daily routine. I feel lost. Like if I'm in the car and I drive away, I turn around if I don't have my water bottle. It's like, nope, I have to have it. And it has made such, I used to get a lot of sinus infections, and it's made a tremendous difference.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to this that when I had the session with the doctor a while back, he asked me about the water situation. He says, I said, "I hate the taste of water." He says, "He does too. He doesn't like the taste of water." So he uses drip drop, which is just a little additive. And so I put a little drip drop in there.
Drip drop.
Now I can drink the water. It tastes okay.
So in being proactive, aging healthy, again, exercise, diet, water, and sleep. And this is where I fail on. And we should really have 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, putting the technology away an hour before, not eating past like 8 o'clock. If we need to listen to music, there's apps, there's different things if we have a hard time getting to sleep. But that is really an important component, and that is my goal this year. I'm working on doing a better job with that.
Yeah, and I tell everyone, you know, if the television thing is bothering you, turn it off. But
Yeah.
I think the younger generation, if they could get a little bit more sleep, it wouldn't work so much. It'd be so much better off. I get sleep, and boy, you know, that's wonderful.
I was just up at the Y camp in Estes, and I love that they don't have TVs there. It was perfect because you're not tempted, you know. And meditation and worship. So that is really, really key again, that we center ourselves no matter what our religious belief is, our background, but are we taking at least 5 to 20 minutes a day just to simply be? I fail in this one as well. This is one of my weaknesses, just to take time to stop, to breathe, to realize the goodness among us. And so whether that's going, some people it's going to worship, some people it's meditation. Again, there's a lot of resources online. So really key that we look at the meditation worship. And I know we're running.
Are we running late?
Well,
Okay, I was just gonna state that I know some, seniors that I know, they take a little nap in the afternoon and boy, that really, the rest of the day seems to be much better for them.
yeah,
So,
that's a good point.
yeah.
And socialization, I think we found, wow, I think sometimes as we age, we can become more isolated. I hear a lot of my 80 and 90 or 100-year-olds say, my friends have all passed, even family members. And so sometimes that can be very isolating. I think it was a big wake-up call during COVID that who are our population? It became my mantra, and I'm going to keep it, is my goal is always to make sure the most vulnerable do not become the least visible. How do we make sure people are not excluded, secluded? And we'll talk about some things I'm doing with my nonprofit to help really socialize people. But it's really, really key. And it was highlighted during COVID that we have really problems with people having social engagement. And so really being intentional in our lives, like at 58, I'm working, I'm out with the pup, but you know what? My 86-year-old mom, she's out, she's volunteering, doing all this, but during COVID, she couldn't. I saw a huge change in her. So that's why I started the Zoom sessions, doing things like we just need to connect. So whether it's taking walks around the neighborhood, that's the best thing that came out of COVID. One of the best things, I got to know my neighbors. I'm here and there and I'm never around. I got to know neighbors. It's like, oh my gosh, now we know them by name. And if it means someone is immobile and they can't get out of the home, Zoom has opened that up. How can we help people do that? Or if we're in that situation, there's help out there. Trishaw experiences, I'll talk about that in a little bit. The video chat with loved ones, I think that's really increased and enhanced since COVID. And there's a nonprofit, and I know I'm trying to be cognizant of time because I want to give enough for the end too, but there's this, if you know someone homebound or you want to do some kind of nonprofit and not nearly near people, these love letters are written. They find people that have difficult situations going on. And I had someone that was a receiver on the end that had some really life challenges. My daughter nominated her. 600 letters arrived at our house, and I cannot tell you the difference and the hope that made in her life with that loss she was dealing with. So if that's some kind of ministry you would enjoy or want to pass on, that's something that I just really advocate. They do a really nice job.
I just wanted to add one thing. All you have to do is once in a while is pick up the phone and you'll make somebody's day just by talking. Plus it'll be beneficial for yourself too. Just talk on the phone.
Yeah, easy as that. And mental stimulation, making sure every day we do something that's going to stimulate our brain, whether it's puzzles, games, cards, crosswords. I found out this whole new reality or virtual reality. You can go to the amusement park. You can go to any museum in the world. YouTube totally opened my eyes during COVID. So there's so many resources. And by the way, I'm going to give this presentation to you all. I don't usually give it out, but if you want a copy of it, you can have it so that you have the notes and some of these resources. And then lastly, as important as anything is our psychological well-being. What we said, if it's negative news, turn it off. Who I can most connect to in a week, in a month, are those people really good and positive? Or are they negatively consuming my time? These are just really good, important things to ask ourselves because, I a lot of times my attitude tends to become the attitude of people that I'm influenced by. So just a really good question to ask ourselves.
Run every day.
Yeah, have fun. That's Robbie's motto. If I'm having a down day, I call Robbie because he's going to say, are you having fun? No. Okay, let's figure out how to have some fun. He's hilarious. That's why he's my pal, man. He's one of my 5. Is life happening to me or am I happening to life? These are just some good questions. Sometimes we can get into that victim circumstance sometimes, and then things become negative and then they just continue to put a big cloud up. So just again, intentional thinking. So as we plan, again, the proactive piece that we just went through, just again, refreshing. So again, inventory take 5 seconds here. Where do I maybe need to improve in? Is it psychologically? mentally, physically, my diet, my water, just sleeping, kind of take a moment. What are one or two of the areas that maybe my life, and maybe I have a great life right now and things are going so well. How can it even go that much better if I just didn't take and make a just little tweak on those places? So that's our proactive piece and how we be as healthy and whole as possible. Because my friend that I talked about, he never expected to get ALS. He never expected to be 53 and on a vent and bedbound. I can't tell you his positive attitude. He inspires me every day. And as I pray for him, I am so inspired by his positive attitude. We get on Zoom once in a while and he's doing the thing through his mouthpiece and his wife's kind of communicate. I mean, he's just amazing. And then I have a 102-year-old. Take the other end of the spectrum. It's going to be 102 in August, and she broke her hip in January. Many don't make it home after hip replacement. She only made it home at hospice. She just graduated last week off of hospice. Who does that? Hospice said they've never seen someone 80, much less 102. So you have these opposite ends. You don't know what's going to happen, but she's kept her sense of humor. She's kept her will to live. And so these same characteristics in both my 55-year-old friend, 53, and my 102. And so none of them knew what was going to happen, what's in their future, but proactively, they were in as good a shape as possible before these life events happened. And if we can do that, we're going to reduce our stress and reduce what happens when an event, whether it's acute or long-term, happens to us.
I just wanted to add that, now that we're living longer, older people like me, living longer, you can now take 10 years off your age. So just, whatever your age is, this 10 years.
So Robbie's really 76 sitting here next to me. So that's why this next segment is really important. And there's a lot of information in here, but like I said, I have handouts and you can have this piece too if it's very helpful. It's really important. Like I'll talk to people and they'll say, yeah, I have a will, I'm a lawyer, we're good. But that's part of it, but it's not all of it. And so again, every talk I tell you, I get one more addition. The slide presentation keeps getting longer because people go, oh, this was my experience. Oh, you missed that. And so there's some really good information that's been collective wisdom in here. Make sure you have a financial plan. If you say, yeah, I want to go live at the B, you better have 500,000 down, and then it's whatever, $3 grand, $5 grand a month. So you have to know. So if you want a place, obviously get your plan line, your financial plan. Where do you want to live? What's your plan A and your plan B? And what if you need acute care? Like my friend just broke his femur. Okay, now they have all stairs. There's a tri-level. What are they going to do? How are they going to acclimate to that and make it work for the short term? Or if like my friend Pat, he has ALS. They have figured out how to get a care team in, how to support his wife so she can work. So, I mean, there's so many things. And again, all I do is live in fear and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to, and I have to tell you, when I first started this job for Visiting Angels, I did get a little freaked out 13 years ago because I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this many disease processes were out there. But then I really changed my brain and say, life is going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. We don't know the cards we're going to be dealt. But you know what? If I'm in as good a shape mentally, physically, socially as I can be, then if and when something happens, I'm going to be in the best place possible to receive it and to deal with it. And so one of those things is really building my support network now. So hopefully everybody that's in this presentation today, we're in good things are going well. And it's a good time for us to say, who is my support network? And some people figure, they have a really tight family and maybe a friend or two, and that's cool. But what I've found too is if I expect my family to be my caregivers, that creates a lot of stress and that changes the dynamics of my relationship. And that person that's going to be my person or persons, they're going to need a lot of support emotionally, physically, and coping mechanisms. And Robbie's a great example of this. His
I'm
this
interested.
attitude of having fun. Now, his wife died, what, 2 years ago now? And she went from, I'm telling you what, we were on a journey with her for 5 years, from beginning stages of the Alzheimer's to the end, and it was not pretty at the end. She was combative. She thought she wasn't home. She wanted to go out. Robbie, this attitude he has, I have never met a person like him. That's why I hang out with him, because he
Well-
gives me positive energy. I tell you what, I'm not kidding. I have never seen a spouse be able to deal with the disease process like he did. And even when she was combative and going, he'd say, okay, well, let's go for some ice cream. Let's go home. He didn't try to tell her she was at home because she couldn't process
Yeah,
that
well,
piece.
you know, it's not all gloom and doom, even though she had Alzheimer's. We were able to do a lot of things. If she wanted to look for her house, we'd go out and look for her house. We'd stop for ice cream on the way home. If she wanted to go to the movies, we'd go to the movies. If she wanted to do a sing-along, we would sing. You know, that was the last thing that, you know, was in her mind, was the music and the song. And one day she just all of a sudden started singing. She said, Jesus loves me, this I know. She was back in Sunday school many years. So you don't bring an Alzheimer patient back to your life. You go into their life, and you can do all kinds of things and still have fun.
And I've seen so many family members in my 12 years here with Visiting Angels that have become sicker than the person with dementia or the illness. But Robbie he was proactive. He was taking care of himself physically, mentally. The Visiting Angel kept making meals for him, making sure he was eating, drinking,
I
and
couldn't have done without Visiting Angel.
he got support. A lot of people don't want to ask for help, and they say, no, I meet more 80 and 90-year-old spouses, especially women. I can do this. It's like, you're not going to get a badge of honor. You're going to get sicker than them. So to know when is when, and to be okay, that it's humbling. I know, especially us women, we are so humbled if we need help. Well, all of us, men and women. And so I was so impressed from the get-go when Robbie and his daughter, I sat down and did the assessment with them, and they said, we need help. And I'm like, they were able to acknowledge, and his daughter loves him so much, saying, my dad needs help. I don't want him to get sicker than my mom. And we see that a lot. So again, just being really, really proactive and educated and smart about your well-being, so that everybody's not taken down if there's a disease process that comes into our path. And I don't know if you guys saw the Mr. Rogers movie, but I have so much respect for the man. I kind of made fun of him growing up. Like, he had a red sweater and he was kind of goofy. Oh my gosh, I saw the movie and I was so embarrassed that I ever like kind of poked fun at him. What a wonderful human being. Oh my goodness. And if you haven't seen that movie, it is so worth seeing. And so it's of a strange son with his dad, and then all of a sudden, fast forward, Mr. Rogers is in their life. They're in the room with the daughter, the son, the dad's in bed, dying, has hospice there, and Mr. Rogers is just there very calmly. And he just simply is like, quiet, uncomfortable quietness. And he says, to die is human, and anything human is mentionable, and anything mentionable is manageable. And I find so many families afraid to talk about the end of life and death. But guys, we know there's two things consistent in life: change and death. It's going to happen to all of us. So why don't we give our family the greatest gift and figure out what our wishes are and share it with them? And know that when it does get toward the end of life, like in that scene from Mr. Rogers, there's palliative care, there's hospice care. I don't have time to go into those, but I'm certainly happy to talk to anyone about that. Futures, there's people that will come into your home, and medical folks that Medicare covers that have palliative and hospice processes, that have support systems. Just know there is a support network, from neighbors to visiting angels to palliative care to hospice. They're out there. And so again, when you're not in crisis, is really the time to look at, what are all the resources? What were the social networking if all of a sudden this happens? Oh, I can go here and here. And Gretchen, Tiffany, Douglas County is a great wealth of resources, again, to figure out what that is before you get to that point in your life. Because trust me, I have seen really, really beautiful deaths, and I have seen some really horrendous ones that have been, you want the beautiful ones. I was able to be at Robbie's house at 3 a.m. when his wife passed. And it's still one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life. And it was a family that was coordinated, that we kept having case management meetings weekly toward the end.
Mhm.
The family wanted to ensure that Robbie was going to be healthy, keep mom safe and comfortable. And it was one of the most beautiful deaths I've ever seen.
Well, she passed in her sleep, but the thing was, she had no bed sores. She was completely taken care of right up to the end. And if you gotta go, I guess that's not a bad way to go.
And the gift was, these two talked about it as a
Yes.
couple, and everything I'm going to talk about in the next few slides is they had in place,
Right.
and it made it seamless. And she's continuing to give in her passing of her body, because they donated her body to science. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So Norma's legacy continues to live
Yes.
on in Robbie's spirit and in research.
Yep.
And so these are the next several slides are going to be looking at. And again, I have a list of all this. Do you have all of this in mind? If something happened on April 7th, I got hit by a car. I got thrown out on Broadway on my bike at 4 p.m. I could so easily not be here right now giving this presentation. And as I was coming home from the hospital, I just said to my husband, I've got to finish my binder. I have most of it in line, but had I died that day, he would have had most all of this information, and he wouldn't have been scrambling like, oh my gosh, what's her password? I mean, we don't know the day or time and our destiny. So so I felt so good right now in the hospital. And I said to my husband, you wouldn't have been frantic. You would have had all of this information. It's not a morbid thing. It's just a reality thing. We met with attorney 5 years ago. We have all that. Do you have your power of attorney for medical? There's one for medical health, and then there's one for financial. You can have the same person, you can have multiple people. If you haven't gotten that together, you can get papers online. I advise an attorney. I felt so good when my husband and I walked out of there, and then we sat down with our kids and said, this is our plan. These are our goals. This is where the financial will be done. It felt so good, like a load was off. And every year we look at it, see, is there any revisions? Every 5 years we connect with the lawyer, just, hey, we're good, or we want this change, or whenever change is needed.
Well, because of our planning, we brought the family together long before this, and we had worked out all the issues. Now, the whole family was there at the end, but there was no problem because we'd already thought about this, and we able to take care of all of the issues. So the family worked together very well right at the end. So everybody knew what their responsibility was.
And when meeting with a lawyer, or if you're going to meet with a mortuary, I know the mortuaries now have this insurance on the name. It was something that came up in our talk this year, that one of my caregivers said that her father-in-law died, and he had purchased this policy. I don't know much about it, but that, and they got a call like 3 days after he died. Someone was trying to steal his social security number and his name, and they were alerted. So that saved them the hassle of all the stuff, and knowing that someone was out there. Unfortunately, we have those scums of the earth that are doing stuff like that. But anyways, just know that's something that was new to me. That's possible. My advocacy to you is that you get a binder, that you don't say you're going to do this in a week or 2 weeks, or say it, write it, tell someone you're going to do it, and start doing it. Because I've been doing it for months and I'm still not totally done. But have a DNR form. Do not resuscitate, or do you want to be resuscitated? So the most form is the form in Colorado. Your doctor has to sign it. Every doctor's office has it. So if you don't have a most form filled out, it's really important you do that. So you can call your doctor, say, hey, can I come pick up a form? And then I want the doc to sign it. It starts out with, and there's a copy of it in my forms that you can see what it is. It starts out with, do I want to be resuscitated? If so, then there's blanks, you continue to go down. If not, then, do you want to be artificially fed, hydrated? So it goes through the whole thing. You fill out all the boxes that are pertinent to you, and then the doctor signs it, you sign it, and then you have the, where's my file of life? File of life,
Yeah,
this is
great.
really important,
Great.
and this is on another slide, but the fire department gives us these. You can pick up one here at the fire department, and it has all your stats. So if you call 911, they go look at your refrigerator, that magnet's on there,
Yeah.
and you put your most form in the back there. They have all the information they need, and they can help deal with the acute situation right there. There's also a 5 wishes form. Well, it's actually a booklet. You can order it online. Hospices used to have it, but they don't carry it anymore. But not only is it like what's in the most form, but it's some of the emotional and the psyche stuff. Like, do you want music? What music? What people do you want around? If there's a situation where you can no longer speak for yourself, then who are important people and things? And so it's just a more emotional, I always say it's more of an emotional content piece. It's really helpful to have. So that if you fill out that, you'd have that in your binder. These are really important things. Again, if I don't make it home tonight, I have all this information that my husband's not going to have to scurry around and say, oh my gosh, where is it at? A list of your passwords. And what's really helpful is if you put the security questions with the answers, any bills that are ACH. Now, who does billing in your house? I pay the bills. My husband needs to know all those access codes and which bills are paid online and which aren't. If you're not, if your spouse or your family member does all that, know what's what, because you might have to take it over. What are your bank investment accounts? What about all your credit card accounts? Your social security card, the number, that should be in there, or a copy of the card. I say the original should be in the safe. Your medical updated sheet, that should also be in the file of life, and it should be in your binder. And bring it, someone suggested that's a really good idea. Have one in your purse or your glove box. Make sure when you go to the doctor's office, you have that, you can pull it out. It makes life so much easier and quicker. How about your life insurance policies? Have a copy of those. If you have long-term insurance, and I like to advocate this, there's so many people I've talked to over the years that say, I'm waiting to use my long-term because, I don't know when I'll need it. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, if you're needing assistance in your house with any of the activities of daily living, showering, incontinent care, transferring, there's 6 of them, use it or lose it. I have seen more families wait for a rainy day till they need it, and they have paid thousands of dollars in and they don't get a dime out because they're not going to give it to your family. They're not going to give it to living relatives. It is gone. You use it or lose it. So I always advocate to people, if you're in need of it now, use it now. Well, what if I outlive it? Well, it's better to outlive it than not use it. I mean, you don't know. So I really can't say enough about that.
Wasn't it wonderful that it was covered?
You had long-term insurance.
They
Yeah.
covered
So
a lot of.
know the policy. I do have, and I didn't include it in here, but I do have a list of about a dozen questions. If you don't ask them, they're not going to tell you. And my experience has been very frustrating with long-term insurance. They expect an 80, a 90, or 100-year-old to navigate. You're on hold for hours. It's not a pretty process. So I say, if you have that policy, you get it out, you know it, get all the documentation and pass it on to a family member so you know when you need to execute it, that you're not going, oh, because they have an elimination period, typically it's 30, 60, 90 days. There's a lot of nuances. I've kind of become pretty seasoned on it. So if you have questions on that, I'm happy to answer that as well. Your homeowner's owners, your health insurance, all that. Your marriage and birth certificate. I have a friend, her husband died last year and she still cannot find their original marriage certificate. So she's still jammed up with some paperwork. The copy of contents of your wallet. This has helped save me a couple times. Take in the next week, make sure you go to a copy machine, get every content every card out of your wallet, Xerox the front and back. If your wallet is stolen, your purse is gone, you go, oh, shoot, my Visa card, my Kohl's card. Oh, how do I know where to call? You'll have all that information. I lost my driver's license a while ago and I had a copy I could put in my glove box in case I got pulled over. So it's just really a good idea to have that. So those are really, really key things for the binder, as well as list who should be notified. I think Gretchen was the one that told me, we were talking about this talk, and I think she was the one that told me she has a list of who to notify, people ought to say that, and then who's really important to have at the service, because not everybody can fly in, but there might be two distinctive lists you have that you just want people to be notified of that your passing happened, and who's really important that you'd like to have at that service if you have a service. A letter of intent. This is key. There's 6 people and 6 siblings in my family. We all think very differently. Mom thinks differently. Mom has a real desire to stay in her home, and they've been very frugal and good with their money. She has the ability to have visiting angels for 24/7 if she needs to, like Robbie did for Norma for a bit. I don't think some of my siblings are going to agree with that. I think they're going to want that money. And she deserves to have the money spent how she wants. So I wrote up, and so there's a mock one in my documents that I've passed on, a mock letter of intent that you have signed and notarized, that what are your intents, so that you don't have squabbling family members, that everybody knows what you want. It's crystal clear. There's no discussion. This is what mom or dad wants, and here it is. So let's execute it and implement it so that mom or dad have their wishes. Or siblings. I've had 2 coworkers in their 50s that siblings have died and they were not sick and they were in their 50s. So this is not just for 80 and 90-year-olds. This is for all of us right now where we're at in our life. Important documents that, maybe there's something if you want a service important that you have read, or a certain scripture reading, or what's key to you. And then the memorial service or the funeral. I have a document with that, like just things to think about. Who do I want to preside at it? Do I want it to be at a certain with a certain religious affiliation? Certain people I want to do things. What's important to you? So I have, again, a mock copy of that might help you plan. And that would be good to have in your binder as well. I went to a funeral a couple years back of my friend. Oh, I'm at 11, so I'm going to hurry through the next part. Videotape. It was phenomenal. He had ALS, and he gave it. I wish I had more time. I just tell you, it was one of the most touching things I've ever experienced. He videotaped, and they played it at his memorial, and he thanked everybody for being a part of his life. And at the end, he said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And it was so meaningful. I try to end my salutations with that when I really appreciate someone, that I'm not just saying thank you, I really mean thank you. Heirlooms, pictures, different things like that. All this is really good to have in our end of life binder. And clearly, how do we want our remains? Do we want to give our body to science? Do we want to be an organ donor? Do we want a full burial? Do we want cremation? There are so many, I can't believe it. If you Google this, there's green funerals, there's biodegradable, there's tree burials. It's amazing. I can't believe it. There's so many options you can do with your body. So again, I don't have time to really jump into this.
I just wanted to add that when Norma and I were planning years before she had the Alzheimer's, we decided to give our body to science when we passed. Now, we're hoping, because they took Norma's brain, they took her brain, and that they're doing research, and we're hoping maybe this brain that Norma had, okay, the Alzheimer's, there might be something that they learned from it, and maybe it'll help us all. So I think it's wonderful that people do actually donate their body to science.
Gretchen and Luke and Tiffany, I'm going to be only a few more minutes. I'm going to be really quick, but if you're interested in the Anatomical Society, I have a form for that too, but you can go online. What I found out is you can give your body in Colorado. It's a free transport pickup. It's they have up to 2 years to research your body. Then they cremate. They take all the costs out of it. So it's a cool thing. Just want to say. And then lastly, the location of your binder. Make sure it is in a safe place. I had someone come up at the end of a presentation. She said her fireproof safe wasn't fireproof during the fire and she lost everything. She advocates you put it in the cloud, safety deposit box. Make sure your family has copies of it and you verbalize to them what is important to you. You can also have a copy of your last rites and what you want with the hospital chaplain, if there's a hospital that you frequent or go to.
I just want to add that when Norma passed, all of the documents that Barb is talking about, we had in the lockbox, and they asked for everything. They asked for birth, so they
Yeah,
asked for
everything in there.
everything that you were talking about, and we had actual hard copies.
So this is the best gift we can give our loved ones.
Yeah.
And I don't care, again, if you're 30 years old and you're on this, start it now and put it together. And it's so hard when someone passes, whether we expect it or not, that we can really, really help diminish the stress in that. And as my 93-year-old friend before she died, she would always remind me of her favorite saying, life is a journey, not to ride safely in the grave and well-preserved body, but rather skin in sideways, totally worn out, showing, holy God, what a ride. So, and I love her, and she lived her life to the very end, to the fullest, and that's my goal, to do that. And so, again, I'm running out of time, but wish of a lifetime, if you're over 65, they grant wishes to people. I've had 4 wishes granted. Well, Robbie's going to get one soon. And we do virtual reality wishes with Wish of a Lifetime. So that is a cool organization, and Visiting Angels is partnering with them. So if you have any questions on that, or Google them, they are a phenomenal nonprofit organization.
Fun.
As is the nonprofit I started, Cycling Without Age. We give people rides down the Platte for no charge every day. They're not rides, they're experiences, birthday experiences. We go up the dam, we take people with challenges, we take seniors, anyone that wants to get wind in their hair, enjoy nature, socialize, and really just be in life. And there's also a track chair program up in the mountains. Robbie and I are going to go check that one out. There's a lot of resources out there, you guys, to really have fun, to enhance your quality of life. Really schedule a Trishaw ride. We are having a great time. We give 2 to 4 rides a day now in the summer. And we have 3 Trishaws. We've fundraised for those over the last 2 years, and it's just been a wild success. We want to give you an experience. And if you have any questions, or he's met with some of our clients that spouses are dealing with a dementia spouse, and he is really an advocate and a support. And so he is readily available, and anything I talked about in the presentation, whether you're with Visiting Angels or not, it's about community service. I love who I work with. My boss finds community service a huge value. So that's why I do these presentations. I do the Trishaw. I do exercise classes. It's because we all need to be there for one another. And that's our goal as human beings, to really enhance quality of life for those that
I volunteer. Everything I do is volunteer, and I enjoy it.
So if you like to talk, you can scan that, and you can give me a review on Visiting Angels, just a little bit. But truly, thank you, thank you, thank you. So if there's any questions, and I'll let Luke take it over at this point, or Tiffany.
Yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I'll be able to read them to Barb and Robbie. Robbie, I have a greeting to you from Bob Epstein. So he says hello.
Bob.
What?
Bob Epstein.
Yes.
Said hi.
Hi.
And then Juliana Young said, this is an FYI, not a question, that it is important to go over most documents with your MD, since most of them do not understand what it all means as far as quality of life. So make sure you really go over those most documents with your doctor.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's off the screen.
So any questions? Oh, we have one that says, thank you. This was very helpful.
And I just want to mention to anybody who wasn't able to attend last month's presentation on Wish of a Lifetime, which has been mentioned a couple of times in this presentation, it is posted on our YouTube channel to go back and review with some great information about submitting wishes for loved ones or yourself.
Absolutely. Good reminder, Tiffany. Thank you. Well, thank you, Barb and Robbie, for sharing with us how important it is to do advanced planning and how to create a helpful binder for our families in a very, very difficult time. I know my mother didn't have a lot of that information when she passed, and my sister and I we were scrambling. We were coming in from out of town, and it would have been so helpful. So I've started my binder. You'll be good to know. I have more work to do, but at least I've started it. And I'd like to let everybody know that we are partnering with Barb and Cycling Without Age and bringing the Trishaw rides to Castle Rock in September, September 21st, as a matter of fact. And we'll be sharing more details about that event at our meeting in August. We'll have the path figured out, and we'll have all kinds of information to give you about that event. But go ahead and mark your calendars for Tuesday, September 21st, Castle Rock, and we'll keep you posted on that. As Tiffany mentioned, we'll be hosting Jay Berger, who is a physical therapist and co-founder of Virtual Care, on Thursday, August 5th at 10 o'clock, and he'll be sharing his expertise on how to keep us safer in our home. So please think about joining us then. And Luke, if you have our contact information ready to post on the screen, thank you. And a reminder that all our meetings, as Tiffany said, are recorded. So if you or family members want to listen to this presentation again, because Barb and Robbie had lots of information, or just any of the other presentations we've recorded, visit our webpage, mydugcoseniorlife.com. Most of our topics are not county specific. So even if you have family in other parts of Colorado or in other parts of the country, they're more than welcome to tune in and listen to our presentations. For instance, the information that Barb and Robbie gave us today, everybody could use, as she mentioned, regardless of age, regardless of where you are in the country. So pass along that opportunity to those you know. And also, please consider commenting on our Facebook page, which is My Dugco Senior Life, or visiting our YouTube channel for additional information on what we've had planned, not only for the next several months, but on towards 2022. Did we lose that slide, Luke? Can we pull it back up?
Gretchen, can I ask a question?
Sure.
How do they get if they want the documents for today?
Documents are going to be posted when we post the presentation. They'll have access to that. So yeah, that will be up shortly. Kim Smith is going to be helping with our posting on that. We always have that slide presentation available. Yeah, that'll be helpful in putting your binder together for sure. And remember to check out the Every Age Counts information packet. We'd love to have you participate. Be brave, think outside the box, do something new, stimulate your brain, and we would love to have you participate in that. Well, we appreciate you spending part of your morning with us and hope you will tune in next month as well. And we are going to be looking for new ways to interact with you and also present some multi-generational opportunities so you can interact with people of all ages. As always, stay healthy and stay connected and have a fabulous day. Bye-bye now.
Thanks.